So Ravens flock, we are now officially in the driver's seat. Despite a very ugly game against the New York Jets, we ended up winning it, and it also we got our 5th win in a row and are now 6-5. And with the loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, we are now tied for first place with the tiebreaker at the moment. So now officially we jumped from the 9th seed to, I believe, like we would be like the 4th seed. We are now in a position where our faith, our future, our destiny, whatever you want to call it, our destiny is back in our own hands. And I want to be excited, but at the same time, games like this are games that make this team just look very fraudulent. Because a game like this, I was expecting us to absolutely demolish the Jets. That's what I wanted to see. Because we have to remember, this Jets team is in shambles. Like, this is not a good team by any stretch of the imagination. They got a few good pieces, but overall, this is not a good team, and they're in tank mode essentially. And we made the game much more competitive. We allowed the game to be much more competitive than it should have been. Even though the final score was 23-10, the game was closer than that score would indicate. Kudos to the defense. They played a fairly solid game. You saw guys like Mike Green and Draymond Jones create pressure in this game. Shout out to TJ Tampa. He got his first interception in this game. It was towards the end of the game in like garbage time, but at the end of the day, that's still a big deal for a player who I'm not sure if they're gonna keep him long term. They probably won't, but still, it's nice to see him get on the field and get some opportunities. Defensively, I think they did a decent enough job. They still allowed a couple of big plays, mainly from Breece Hall, which was definitely disappointing for me, considering that with the injury to Garrett Wilson and with the limited passing attack and with the struggling offensive line, you would have thought that we would have made it an absolute priority to stop Breece Hall because he is their only true weapon at this point. And we at times would keep Breece in check, but there was just still a more big plays than I would have liked. Also, what's the guy's name? John Mechie, the guy they traded from Philadelphia to New York. He ended up having a pretty solid game as well. But again, defensively, they did solid. Like it wasn't a belt to ass kind of game defensively, but you hold them to 10 points. That's fine, honestly. Like, there's not a whole lot more we could ask for. Offensively, just nothing more to really be said other than it's just still a dumpster fire right now. Unfortunately, the roles have essentially flip-flopped. Our defense was terrible to start the year, and our offense was playing extremely well. And now it's the exact opposite, but it's a different scenario because our offense was playing well against some of the best teams and the best defenses. Whereas our defense, now that they're getting on a roll, it's not really happening against the best offenses in the league. It's happening against really bad teams. Like, we haven't played a good team in like a month and a half or so. Like, whenever we played the Rams, or I guess maybe you could argue the Bears, but we have gone quite a while without playing a really good team and a team that has a competent offense. So I really don't want to get too excited based off of how they're looking against teams like the Jets. Honestly, when we play teams like the Jets and the Browns, when the Browns had Dylan Gabriel starting, like teams like that, like we honestly, we should hold them to 0 or 3 at best. Even when we give up 1 touchdown, and then also we allowed them to move the ball at a decent enough pace in this game. That's a bit concerning, of course, because we still don't know if this defense is actually fixed or not, because we ran into this same trap last year where the defense played really well towards the end of the year, but that was against the worst offenses in the league. So it was very misleading, and that's a similar trap we're falling into right now. But offensively, again, I have no words. We all know what the main problem is. It's the same problem every week. We can't block to save our lives. Lamar's getting hit in the backfield. Derrick Henry's getting hit in the backfield. Derrick Henry isn't even getting a chance to really get upfield. He only averaged 3 yards a carry. Like like nothing is connecting right now. Our passing attack right now is just completely non-existent, which is really unfortunate, but it's just non-existent. And this was the game that I was expecting us to get back on track from a passing standpoint, just because this Jets team, even though they have a scrappy defense, overall their team is not good and their defense is not good, especially when they just traded away two of their key pieces on defense. I was expecting a much more impressive showing, but that's not what we got. Instead, we got a really just a underwhelming performance offensively. A bunch of drop passes. There was a couple of touchdown opportunities that Lamar overthrew. There's just nothing to be excited about. And then, of course, above everything else, we're not like we're not. I just I'm trying my hardest to not say that we're on fraud alert, but that's absolutely what this looked like. Like to me, if I was a person from the outside looking in, this absolutely just looks like a fraudulent winning streak in my opinion. We still don't look like a good team. We still don't look like a team that should be taken serious as contenders. We still look lost in many instances, and we're still and this is happening against teams that shouldn't even be in the same conversation as us. Like we should not be in a game with the New York Jets as they're currently constructed, and they get out off to a fast start again. Well, not a fast start, but they score before we do. Like they actually have a lead going into halftime. Like we go into halftime and we only had like what was it, like 80 yards in total. Even at the end of this game, in many aspects, they outgamed us. They finished with more first downs. They finished better with a better conversion rate on third down. They finished with more total yards. Like just in many areas, they outplayed us, which is frustrating to see because this is a team that is as not nearly as talented, and also a team that is not having the same expectations that we have. They're at a point where they're just hoping they could get in a good draft position to go get their quarterback of the future. We are still holding out hope that we could get into the playoffs and maybe make a miracle run, but I I'm not super pleased with what I saw in this game. And again, we still I don't has there been a game this year where we've passed for more than 250 yards? I don't know if there has been at this point. We j- we simply are not we are not getting off to the start that I would like, not only in these games, but not only in the first half, but also even when you go series after series. Like we're like now I'm nervous when we get to third down because I don't even know if we're gonna consistently be able to convert at this point. But either way, we still got a few more weeks before. Actually, no, we don't. We gotta play the Bengals on Thursday, and even though the Bengals aren't a good team, that's still gonna be a tough matchup because it's a divisional game. And then obviously later in the season, we still gotta play the Steelers twice, and then we got the Packers and the Patriots. So there's still a bunch of tests left, but this is not how I want us to look going into Thanksgiving. But we'll see how things go. We got a short week and we play extremely well against the Bengals, so maybe that game could be the game we get on track offensively. But let me know, how did you guys feel about this game? Were you satisfied with this? And was there anything that stood out to you in a good or bad way in this game?